Hey everyone, um, grateful that you're here. We're about to start a new soul care life class with an amazing guest, Maarten Oversier. And I will give you a little bit of an introduction to who he is, what he does, and if I miss out on anything after that, I hope that you kind of fill in the blanks there. And it's going to be like what we normally do when we have these live classes. We give the chance to sometimes also have people ask their questions or send in some material. And some people have asked questions up front this time, as we are not doing this live on Instagram. Normally people can then type some things into the chat. We won't have that today, and that's totally fine, but I'm bringing some of their questions with me then.
Sure.
I hope that this is working properly, just in the middle of us.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be. And yeah, so let's dive in. Today's topic is how to reconnect with your ancestors and relieve trauma with regression and reincarnation therapy. And I believe that we are here with someone who is the go-to person to one of the go-to persons to dive into this topic. And as you have been a therapist in this regression and reincarnation area, and been around working with your psychic gifts for over the past 22 years, I believe.
Even more, I think.
And
but,
even more. Yeah, probably more.
25 plus, I think. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I might, some of the material that I might have written the intro to can maybe slightly differ. As I understood there, you've guided over 16,000 sessions and have a broad experience in working with the tears of our ancestors.
That's right.
Yeah. And you're also the author of a beautiful book, Bestaansrecht, which is translated in English into
Right to be.
The right to be,
right.
Or the right to exist. Yeah. And as I came to understand just a little bit yet, you've been blessed to be guided by several teachers, tribe elders, medicine men and women from the North American and Canadian Indian tribes called the Iroquois.
The Iroquois in Canada, right?
Okay,
yeah.
And there is, as I've come to understand, some of the importance and maybe some drive in you awakened to share all this beautiful knowledge and carry that out into the world. And it seems like you're doing that on a broad level, training a lot of other therapists in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for doing this beautiful work. And that I get to connect with you here.
Yeah, no problem.
So is there anything that you maybe like to add to what I just shared, something that I maybe missed out on with this intro that is important for people?
It's all about me, how interested is that? But no, I don't think so. I mean, I'm a therapist for quite a long time, and therefore I had the opportunity to gain a lot of experience. And parallel from that fact, I worked together with these indigenous people for a long time.
Yeah. And
what I learned from them basically has a lot of comparisons with my practice experience. And that makes it an interesting, merge.
Yes.
Which basically speaks the same story. So about the importance of reconnecting with our ancestors, understanding that we have a spiritual basics inside ourselves, and maybe give a little bit more explanation about those facts than people often think. that is important. Just only knowing what they did, my grandpa or my grandma. And some what is it? Talents or special things about them is often not enough. You need to know. You need to know more and to understand more about their lifetime, where they went through, and especially about the things they did not speak about afterwards.
Yes.
That is the biggest part of my work, basically.
The feelings, the emotions that have not been
expressed.
Yeah.
They kept it all inside. That was the big strategy in those times. If it's too complicated, we don't talk about it. So, but there's a lot to find, and it's important for us because our welfare depends on all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I believe it does too.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I found out all those years.
Yes, I would love to ask you, like, what does this topic, I'll just repeat it one more time for people listening.
Sure, no problem.
How to reconnect with your ancestors and relieve trauma with regression and reincarnation therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to dive just a little bit into the meaning of this topic to you. Like you just shared the importance, and I would love to ask when did this get alive in you, right? When was this born, this journey or this search for you?
Well, I think for myself, it already started like I described in my book when I was really young already. Most children are very sensitive when they're young,
Yes,
which is normal. And then after some time, they got more spoiled by the fact that they need to develop their senses so much. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, you are suppressing your sensibility. And somehow many of the children, they somehow stayed connected to these old sensibilities, but then you become really insecure because if you're going up in the grown-up world, you really don't know what to do with it. So that was in my case also like that. Yeah, many people. And then what I found interesting still, of course, is when I was really interested anyway, attracted to native wisdom as a child already. So I tried to get books and films, and in those times it was different from now. And what I found, especially in some books I read, this book of Deep Brown, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. And another was Black Elk Speaks.
Just writing it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those two books were really important to me. And although I was young and I could not really understand what it was all in the text, I could see between the lines that there were so many topics they were paying attention to from their religion, from their point of view, like their tribal ceremonies and all these things, that I already start to understand when I was young. I was in my teenage years, I think, that all those topics they were paying attention to, my family did not pay attention to it. Spiritual things like you need to know your ancestors. There was a lot of ceremonies and rituals that were done for the connection or the empowerment of the relationship with our ancestors. And in my reality, I had my opa and oma. And from the other side, they were gone a very long time ago. But that wasn't, nobody talked about it apart from the fact that he smoked cigars. And my old grandfather from Rotterdam, nobody knew him, but he was a hard worker and died young or something. That was it. More information that was not given. No, not given. Anyway, so I thought about those things already. What is the big difference? Why are all these native people paying so much attention to these things? Are they crazy, or is my family crazy, by not doing it? And that's quite a question for a young boy, because if you think your own family is crazy and so then it means that I'm crazy as well.
I resonate with this
Yeah.
question. Yes.
Anyway, and now after some more years, decades even, I found out during my years working with people, the importance. I understand now why it is so important to know where you're coming from, because this is like a spiritual kringloop. What is it? Circle.
Yeah.
Cycle.
Yeah.
Cycle, exactly, a cycle. And if you not attached, no, not clicked into the essences, like the native people say, the medicine of your ancestors, you start to lose your path here. That is basically what it is. And by working on those topics in a therapeutical form, which I did many times, trying to reconnect with the ancestors, my clients, but especially trying to get awareness about the fact why Opa or Oma did what I did. Where there's a lot of guilt around it, a lot of shame around it, a lot of convictions about it, condemnations, all these kind of things. And that somehow this stays in those family systems like a status quo, you know, and by breaking those things through, people start to cry and they start to feel the voices of their ancestors inside, which is a really warm and powerful feeling.
Beautiful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that, and also for
it is
there.
touching. I mean,
yeah. And you shared, like, of course, this is how eventually you've been able to guide many others on helping go there and reconnect with that peace in themselves.
Yeah.
And then you also shed a light upon on how this journey started for yourself as well, right? And first going through all of this yourself, embodying it first, in order to give it further to others.
Yeah, but first you need to have the perspective, because when you're young, you don't really understand what is going on in the world. I mean, why should you learn hard in school? Why should you have a career and all these kind of things? I mean, when you're young, you don't have this what is this perspective? Yeah, maybe I'm looking for another word.
Yes.
This is hard to make a difference between what is normal and what is not normal.
Yeah.
Because you think what is normal is what people telling you. Your family and the authorities around you and the school teacher and all these guys.
Yes, while the normal is actually the intuition that we are connected to.
That is what I don't tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to find out after a while. Many people need to have some kind of crisis for that. And the crisis helps you to get another idea about it, what it's all about. But it brings you in a really insecure part of your life.
Yes.
And many people are not aware of that. The crisis they're having gives a lot of opportunities. But if you are approached by authorities around you having a crisis, then you don't have that perspective either.
Yeah, so
you can stay in the crisis and you can stay down under.
Yes, just to recap a little bit in order to check if I am following you, and also for people listening, that for some of us, meaning all of us human beings on this path, we sometimes are not able to see the gifts of the crisis we get into, and when we're still in a place where we might not be as conscious of what different types of consciousness are there, let's say it that way, then it's difficult to trust that you're on a right path there, and that you can trust into the gifts of that crisis, right? Yes. Yeah,
but because you're losing you're falling out of the loyalty system you're in from your family.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part, and at the same time you don't have an alternative.
Yes.
Not really.
And this, I'm just sharing a little bit on how this, many people might still be there on this verge of, do I dare to take that step, right? Because it's one of the most difficult ones.
Yeah.
And a very painful one too, because it might mean that you have to face loneliness, or at least that's what we fear if we're still in the different state of mind there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're talking about it. It's really important to emphasize on this topic because this is basically what I see so much in my practice through all those years. People, they come in my practice because they're having all kinds of problems, and the major part of all those problems refer to this crisis kind of circumstances.
Yes.
And again, they don't have this perspective. That people don't have the perspective, so they cannot see that the crisis, whatever it is, I mean, it can be many things. That is the complaints people have when they come in the therapeutical practice.
Yeah, maybe if you could elaborate just a little bit on what you see people come in with, just
Sure.
so that people can
relate. Remind me of the question.
Yeah.
I can elaborate on that, of course. No, but I wanted to say that this crisis, when people start to realize that the crisis, whatever it is,
yes,
is a logical consequence of the fact that you are pushed off of your original earth walk. And once they start to see, then they can embrace the crisis in a different way, which then it's going to work for you instead of that you have to fight it. Like always. We need to battle this and fight this and suppress that, and that is an original. What is a total accepted way of dealing with problems? But once they see that it has a purpose, then the healing already starts to happen.
Yes, and for some of us, meaning myself as well, that can take several crises to every now and then get back to that place.
Yeah.
And remember the earth walk in that sense. And I'm grateful that you go a little deeper into this one, because what it helps me understand, and I try to kind of connect to it, is and I hope that it helps people listening understand eventually, of course. I used to work a lot in children's hospitals and guiding these children that were terminally ill or in palliative care, and guide them towards death often, and then their parents too.
Yeah.
Beautiful job. Bit intense at some point, so there was another wake-up call there.
Yeah, of course.
But it was beautiful and deep, and what touched me just now is what happened there in that time of my life as well, is the fact that we're so trained, almost so programmed, that these crises are there to sometimes even eliminate or take away the symptoms, while it's actually something to embrace and surrender to, right?
Yeah.
And that was, I remember how tough it was for me to be in a role where, hospital, I mean, nothing against Western medicine. I mean, I totally believe it's necessary in many
Sometimes,
ways.
yes.
I do actually, however, believe there's a total different path to take there as well, that might help to deeper layers of healing.
Yeah, many alternative ways should be regular. Huh?
Yes, so believe that. And so it was always, it kind of, we have a saying in Dutch which doesn't translate well to English, like dat het je tegen de borst kan stuiten. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how to say that in English,
No.
but it went so, it's like rubbing the wrong way. That's kind of the way
Yeah,
to
it
say
doesn't
it. Like,
fit your feeling. That's what it basically says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, one of the moments in my life was then to really have this mission, like this can be done so differently, right? Just felt like elaborating on that for a sec. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We were we left at
what kind of problems people come in my practice?
Yes.
Yeah, that can be really diverse, of course. Therefore, it's good that we first emphasized on the word crisis, because every severe problem, whatever it is the entrance of some kind of crisis. Again, but the crisis itself is the forgotten story. So it's going to oblige you somehow to look back where you got distracted when you were young, and on the longer term also in past lives, by the way. But anyway, the complaints people are coming with, okay, all kind of fears, neurosis, chronic physical diseases, phobias, anxiety, depression. Sometimes people, they hear voices in their head that are disturbing, pretty much. In other words, it can be anything. And normally I don't really like to talk about all these medical, Prince terms, because it's just fixating many things. But anyway, if I want to explain it, then I need to say these words.
Yeah, I resonate with you there. Like, it's not necessary. I just felt like, just for people listening to understand, hey, we all have that, and we all can find our ways through
it.
It
is just confronting, of course, also for myself. I mean, you know how it is to work with children that are seriously ill. I know how it is to work with people that I'm turning upside down. In fact, they are turning themselves upside down because of all the information that does not fit the molds they're in. But to realize after some time that many things of what we believe is not true, is totally the upside down, is bloody confronting.
Yeah.
It mixes up your total mindset, the whole paradigm, the whole perception of what is life. How should we go deal with Mother Earth, with the nature, with the elements, with each other, with the animals, etc.
Yeah.
And that is not embedded in the things we learn at school.
No, not in today's
Only
society.
some stupid stories.
Yeah.
And we base our whole identity on these weak ideas or something. And then you find that the essence of spirit wants to find its place in all these fairy tale kind of ideas, which is normal. But if it's hard for the spirit to find its place, then the crisis comes, because your identity, all the parts that you start to believe in when you were young, also seeing that your parents believed in those things similar, it falls down like a house of cards.
Yeah.
And again, we are emphasizing again on this, but this is the main explanation about the transformation processes we are in now on a massive scale. So it's good to realize that indeed many of us come on this planet and we're put in a mold again, and you're supposed to stay there as long as you can. And you get these ideas from your childhood in a phase episode of your life that you're really vulnerable, really open. You're like a sponge. Everything comes in and you start to digest it inside, and you try to deal with it, and it's going to direct you to some kind of position in this world, like doing a career. But the career many people are going to have, they're going to contribute their life energy, to a system that is totally fucked up. So the whole world basically is decorated by NGOs and multinationals and so on and so forth. And so in a part that you don't have the perspective, you are attracted to such a position. They're going to make you dependent for your insurance and mortgage and all these kind of things.
Yes, income and
everything,
even your
healthcare. And after some time, you start to realize, where am I? This is what I really want to do. No.
Am I happy? No.
No, all these kind of things. And that means that we are in a really interesting time of life, because I believe that everything is going to come back to the law, not in a book, but the law of spirit.
Yeah.
And that is what makes us happy after a while. But first, you have to.
First, it's a deep journey.
Yeah, to get out the mold. Yeah.
And I love how you say your explanation of how spirit how that shows up when it's not able to enter you in that sense, like spirit, or that, let's just say, that type of consciousness, or that feeling of happiness and connectedness. That is actually what spirit is, and it's trying to find you, and it's trying to have a home in you.
That's
right?
it. It's in all those plastic ideas. It's even the fact that we're not recognizing the spirit inside it.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot see its place there. There's no comparison. No one looking for a word.
Yeah.
No recognition.
Yeah.
Spirit, what is spirit? Can I touch it? Can I improve it?
Yeah,
Can
we
I
have no
understand it?
idea of the, we try to think of that in concepts, but it's not possible, right? We can only feel it, really.
Yeah,
And we can be so locked off out of the
like
feeling.
that. And the interesting part of working with people so long is that many of those people, they did not contemplate on these topics. I mean, you're quite into it, you're working with it, so am I, but most of the people, they, as I sometimes say, they don't know even how to write the word reincarnation. So that makes it interesting. But once you're opening up the deeper layers of their consciousness, subconsciousness, they all speak the same language. So that is where the truth lives.
Yeah.
One's truth, not my truth, but their truth. And that speaks the same language, more or less.
Yeah.
I find it very hopeful.
Yeah, me too.
It's really nice because somehow you feel that that part is going to make sure that there's coming, wow, this is a new way of living.
Yeah. A new
in
earth.
The same world.
Yes. Like.
Not a new world order.
No, exactly.
But the spirit is ordering us to find a new way of living.
Yes, and to have more homes in that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and therefore being more embedded
Right.
onto Earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
When it comes to the
You like some more?
yeah, sure, thank you. When it comes to the regression and reincarnation therapy, on the topics we just kind of dove a bit into, would you maybe take us with you on how one, if people have never heard about this, and if people are totally new to this, like some of them around here are totally open to it, but there might be people not knowing about this and hearing this for the first time. Like, we've just tapped on, hey, these are some feelings that you can have when you come to a therapist in that sense, but then what can people kind of expect, or how does that go? Could you maybe help us understand that?
I can give it a try. I like the simple approach. So in the beginning, of course, my clients, they come because they have complaints, problems, diseases, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's always a reason. And I consider those complaints as the symptoms of an unsolved experience in the past, or a period in the past that was traumatical. And the past is broad. I mean, previous lifetimes is also the past.
Yeah.
So these symptoms, they are the leftovers from those unsolved traumatical things. But by using the symptoms, you are able to make a bridge to the actual experience. And the actual experience, often they are suppressed. So the symptoms are gold in a way. That's already interesting for people because they want to get rid of the symptoms.
Exactly, we try to fight them.
And I use them in order to make the connection with those. Yeah, it's interesting, by the way, and simple as well. Okay, so what is the thing? People, they go through all kinds of experiences. Let's keep it simple. Traumatical experiences is what matters in the practice. And a traumatical experience in the past can stay traumatical as long as it's not understood or integrated. And what you see if someone is getting into a traumatical experience, whatever the situation is, people start to disassociate from themselves.
Yes.
Dissociation means that the spiritual part of someone is going to disconnect from the matter, from the body.
In order to survive.
In order to survive, exactly. But that means that the body part stays behind in the experience. There's also awareness or consciousness in the body too. So when the dissociated situation is going to be chronicle, the body part does not realize that the experience is over. So it stays somehow in the experience while time continues.
Yeah, physical level.
Yeah, but there's a lot of consciousness in the physics as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So therefore, many of the complaints are experienced in the body, even when you are depressed, or even when you have fears or phobias or whatever. It's always stored in the body. The body is called the negative part of who we are because it refers to Mother Earth, by the way. And everyone, or many people, they use the word negative in a bad way. They see negative as something that you don't want. And then they try to become positive. But by becoming positive, you're even suppressing the negative part more. And then the reaction on that is going to make sure that the scream of the pain from the past is going to become louder. Anyway, by bringing the people in the now back to what happened in the past, you're going to activate, in fact, to motivate the people to stay connected to the experience, especially on those moments they wanted to go away from it. So that is an associative therapy form. So as an example, if someone is getting hurt by abuse or something, my instruction would be, okay, so realize what is happening and go to the moment that the hardest knock is coming. What happens to you? I don't want to be here. I'm going away from myself. Listen to what you're saying. You're going away from yourself because I cannot handle the pain. Can you say again? I cannot handle the pain. And by repeating those words, people are going to feel the pain again. So that is an associative way of working. Yeah. So once people are reconnected with the old experience and the tears come and to relive, in fact, what could not be relived when it happened in the real, people are going to be whole again. Afterwards, they feel as if they are finally can embrace a part of themselves in the now that they left behind, which makes them feel more complete. And that is basically what I'm doing. It sounds a bit simple, but
yeah, it's beautifully explained. Yeah.
And another part of this work, especially the part I worked out. Hey, brother, how you doing? He's always coming on those moments, so I cannot. Well, I can put him in the oven, maybe.
There's a rooster just outside of the window here calling us. Yay, a lot of fun.
The part of the work in this regression field that I really developed, I found it really important, and I'm developing it. It's about the ancestors.
Yes.
Therefore, you need to understand, if you want to understand the importance of them in this working field, you need to realize that if people are having previous lifetimes, past lives, with a lot of unfinished business, means all kind of traumatic circumstances, in relations, in society, with themselves, in all kind of roles, can be anything. It's a learning process. But anyway, the unfinished business from the past, previous lifetimes, it stays connected to you in the etheric body, which is connected to the soul, to make it simple. The soul is not able to deal with unfinished business, especially not when parts of yourself are excluded from yourself, sent away, left behind in prison, left behind under condemnation, self-condemnations, all kind of situations. Anyway, so the soul is going to find new situations, new circumstances, in new lifetimes, in a new incarnation, that is going to activate the unfinished business.
And kind of recreate,
yeah,
in that sense, the traumatic experience from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there we don't have a lot of awareness about it. If you ask anybody, what are the most important experiences you had in your lifetime, the painful ones, everyone can think of some. But now I'm going to add a dimension to these experiences when I explain that these situations are the actualizations of pain. And the difference is this time you did not die. It often felt like that, by the way, but you see, so in fact, as a magnet, you're going to activate the unfinished business from the past by the situations you're going through in your current lifetime. And the ones that are playing a major role in this activation are your ancestors, because they are the carriers. What's on the word for carrying? Dragers.
Yeah.
Carriers.
It sounds right.
Yeah, they're the carriers of the themes you need to face again. Which means if you had, to make it simple, if you had a lifetime before as a woman and many circumstances made it happen that you started to undermine yourself as a woman, your body, your femininity, sensibility, all these kind of things. Well, you can think of many of those circumstances. They happen quite often due to influences of the church, the war things, and all these kind of things. So anyway, so if you have a severe problem about accepting yourself as a woman, your body, and all these kind of things, and you say to yourself in those circumstances, this part of me is so painful, is so condemned, is so I don't want to connect anymore with this. I don't want to be that. Well, this gesture says I'm going to push you away from my reality, my being, exactly. So you're going to exclude that part. Also to survive. Anyway, so if you are coming in a new lifetime and you have such an unfinished business topic, then you need to find a new lifetime with a grandmother that has already similar themes on condemnations about femininity. And that can be the mother of your mother, it can be the mother of your father. In this example, often it is from the mother's side because there's another woman in between them. But anyway, that means that you are going to be born this time out of a mother that has a mother that was condemnating her femininity already. So these patterns, they hop over intergenerational to yourself right now, in the now. You can be called, I don't know, any name. You can be the present person. And then you're going to find out again that you're going to struggle with femininity when you are in your puberty, for example, and everything starts to grow, and there it starts. And then you can have some nasty experiences with boys, maybe, or anything else.
Yes.
And then you're going to realize my mother never acknowledged me on my femininity. She, in fact, rejected it, but makes it worse. Without realizing that the fact that she rejected your femininity is already a consequence of how she was raised from
her childhood trauma and
exactly
that of her mother.
So let's say, for instance, this grandmother dies and now you are, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something. For me as a therapist, it means that the provider of the themes on femininity passed over. Well, not exactly, she died. Passing over means that you're going up in the dimensions, but this one stays around, earthbound, this grandmother, because she feels similarity with her granddaughter of the same themes, and they're going to stay attached. And by staying attached, in a way, the themes are becoming more isolated and more painful. If this person comes in my practice and we find out her themes, her problems connected to femininity, I'm going to do research in the biography, and we will find out about his grandmother. It is possible to make a connection with his grandmother through the awareness of my client, and to actually find out what happened in her lifetime, where the pain started. And then you will come to the childhood of this grandmother when she was abused by a priest or something, or by a grandfather, or that she was supposed to be a boy instead of a woman, because that you could take over the farm or something like that. All kind of circumstances that make you realize on a deeper level, holy fuck. I mean, now I start to feel the pain, the tears of my ancestor, my grandmother. And by doing so, you are going to reconnect, reconciliate, in fact, with these old things. And by doing so, your grandmother allowed you to get a healing process, but also on the personality you were in your own previous lifetime. Therefore, they are so important. So they're carrying this potence of getting healed.
So beautiful.
That is really amazing. And I find it really nice to work with it, because many people, they have this reference easier about their grandmother or grandfather. It's understandable. Past lives is also a reality to me.
To me too, but not for everyone.
Exactly. This is easier to understand. And if this potence of getting healed because of the energy of your grandmother really works for you, why should you know all those past lives then?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I've seen so many results, therefore I'm quite confident that it worked like that, which does not mean that I'm not working with past lives. I do that as well. But I think we're underestimating the importance of working with our ancestors. We stay in these condemnations, in this well, you see this fixated family loyalty systems. Grandmother was not a nice woman and she did it, and it goes on for decades.
And the whole, yes, it totally does.
Yeah.
And that can be grandfather and grandmother, and
there should be grandfather and grandmother.
Exactly. That is not.
Therefore, they're the providers for your themes, and if you're going to find it, they feel acknowledged as well. Huh? It's a hard job for them as well.
They'll be seen in the generations after that, and remembered that way, and honored.
And it's easy to motivate people to look this way by saying that they will be an ancestor in a while too. Huh?
Yeah. Yes. It even helps. I just a couple of weeks ago I went to this beautiful kind of camp, and there were some beautiful shamanic practices there, and one of them said something like that you're somehow the carrier of this torch of light, and that you are chosen. You can. It felt like a way to motivate the people that we were with.
Yeah.
To motivate them to understand the importance of that. Like, hey, you have that knowledge, you have the chance to heal, help them heal, and help yourself heal, right?
Right. Yeah.
That can be a great motivation.
Yeah, it is. Like I explained just an example. Of course, I have many examples. This is the main road of explanation, this kind of work. And there's a lot of misunderstandings about these things as well, because I mean, if you are somehow aware of the pain of this grandmother, or if she was really recognized as someone who was evil, something could be. What happens often is that people in a therapeutical session are going to send them to the light or something, or to surround them with light or all kind of ceremonial shizzle. But it's really dangerous to do these kind of things. That is also a slight difference in the way I approach things compared to many other things.
It's by going into the pain instead of making it all fluffy with the light.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. But many people are somehow afraid of going into the pain. Also therapists, by the way, so they prefer to have working methods that are going to bypass the pain with all kind of fluffy things indeed.
Yes.
So you have to be aware as a client. I mean,
who to work with.
Who to work with.
Is it somebody that has embodied their own pain processes?
Exactly. Yeah, more or less. I mean, you don't have to be perfect as a therapist.
No, sure.
But indeed, what you say, if you see that these approaches are surrounded by light and 5-dimensional crystal kind of high vibrational think twice.
Yes.
Because all this ancestral pain, you're not going to find it in those realms. You're going to find them there.
Yes.
So sometimes you have to descend.
For people listening, we're talking about ground level here, doing earth work, lower energies.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you for this, and also for hopping on the level of the grandmothers and the femininity, the feminine acceptance, really. And I totally resonate myself with this on many levels. On this example, and also the having gone. I always like to be open about this. I feel it's important. So some of the listeners might know this, some might not, but so I've been through all sorts of violence in this lifetime, including sexual violence, and I've just recently closed some chapters there after 18 years of deep inner work.
Okay.
So not only guiding as a therapist others, but also my own journey here.
Right.
I've been able to do a lot of work here, and then the deeper work and going into the pain layers, up until a point that I have been able to face these people and speak with them and find a level of self-forgiveness in the first place there. And it's beautiful, and I do believe there's inner peace possible for all of us, as long as you dare to go into these
you
layers.
need to be courageous. That's right.
Yes, very much so. It takes a lot of courage there. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of fun too.
Yes.
If you surround yourself with good people, humoristic and wise people.
Yes, I've been blessed to have been supported there that last time I went with a great group of people. Yes, it was beautiful.
Nice.
Yes. And so, yeah, I totally resonate with the ancestral work. Also, I really love to incorporate the family constellations. And I feel it's a profound way of working with what you're working with too.
Yeah, I often get this question about the comparison between my work and family constellation work. There is a slight difference in my understanding. It depends a bit on where you go, and also on the people that are guiding these constellations. But I mean, you get insight in the situation. I mean, people that are positionated, they are going to stand in some kind of gesture, gestalt, houding.
Yeah, some sort of gesture might be the best word for now. Yeah,
and then if you look at it, then you see that there are all kind of communication blockages and strange things and so on and so forth, but which is interesting and healing as well. But I'm more interested in the reason of those positions. And what I prefer also is that I prefer to let my clients connect with their ancestors themselves instead of someone else. Because they are really the ones, they are the descendants of all these people. So they can really feel on the deepest level what it's really all about. You can ask for the details. And even when you don't ask for the details, they will sense it from the inside. Which is the treasure, the gold mine is bigger and more powerful.
I believe so, yeah.
And again, if grandfather is turning his back to the family, for instance, and that is the situation, the positions of these people, I would take him apart, and I would regress this guy to the situation where he was, where he started to get into this position, maybe in the Second World War when he got entangled in NSB things, and you know what I mean. And that the shame and the guilt feeling and something like that, and even when he feels responsible for the death of others, people in the village, all these kind of things. This is what really helps people to understand the position of grandfather instead of seeing grandfather having this position with the painful consequences of it.
Mhm.
But if grandfather is a young guy in the Second World War, let's say 20, I mean, I'm thinking of this example because last week I worked with someone that had this specific story.
Yeah.
When he is about 20 or something in the Second World War, and he has a brother, and the brother was active in the resistance, but he was caught up, the brother, and he was killed. This grandfather could decide not to connect with the resistance, but do the other position, going for safety, and enjoy the NSB, because he believes if you're going to join the NSB, it helps you not to get killed. For example, once you are in such a club, after a while, yeah, you're ought to do things you don't want to do. You have to give names or something. In this situation, the story was that he needed to kill a woman in the village because this woman knew too much. So that was his task. He was only 20 or 21 or something. It's an impossible thing, but you needed to do it. Otherwise, you could not join the club. And
he would have lost his life.
And he would have lost his life, and he's a coward, and so on. So
Wow.
he killed her. And that is horrible, of course, in many ways. But after the war, I think 3 or 4 years later, he became a grandfather. Oh no, he became a father himself. So his wife became pregnant from a daughter. So if you realize that if you are getting a daughter 4 or 5 years after you kill a young woman, it's not possible to connect with your daughter. Every time she comes too close, it will remind you to this horrible situation.
Yep.
See, these are really literally and really understandable stories. But if you find it out this detailed, the descendant, the client in the now, on the most deepest possible layers inside, so starts to feel the pain of grandpa. And when you start to feel that, he is going to repositionate himself immediately.
Yeah, turn around. And that sounds like
exactly.
We're making the gesture.
And then it's really concrete, the healing is there.
Yeah, wow.
That's what I really like to do, to get this detailed story, and all those stories are there. They're available, you can find them, always they're approachable, but you need to have a bit of courage too as a therapist. And you need to know how the house lopen. I don't know how you say that in English, but I really like this
saying. Yeah, okay. How can we translate this saying?
That's your problem.
That's mine to do. Yeah, how can we
I just wanted
to understand how to walk that line. Maybe that would be
how you should connect the dots.
Yeah, connect the dots.
That is what it is. And if you know how these fields work, what logics are beyond all these fragmented memories, then it's quite easy to get them in connection again. And that is what the spirit wants. The spirit is not really interested in the details, but it's interested in the discharging of the loads that are behind the details.
Yes, so
but by bringing the details together, it comes out.
Yeah, so the integration of all the details helps discharge eventually.
Exactly. Yeah. That was quite a long answer, or a long answer about saying something about the difference I think there's between the constellation work and my work. And my work is also like this because it's not my property.
No, of course, but it's the practice you practice most. And
the way I start to work, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I hear you there. And I do believe there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I love both approaches and sometimes even combine them. But I do believe, I follow you.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, with all of respect to the constellation work, but again, there are many people coming in my practice telling me that I did constellations, and then it's my question: okay, did it help you?
Yeah, was it enough?
And they often say, "Well, I got some insights, but the pain is still there."
And there's some layers of the consciousness that we might not be able to enter into because family constellations, just for people not knowing this, well, it's pretty much in an awake state. You're often standing up. Your brain wave is often functioning on beta level, which is a a frequency where you're in alert state. And I believe that with the practices you do, you had then like it's like a Dutch thing, but then you move more into either theta or gamma, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a state where you'll be brought more into a hypnosis state, which will help.
Trance state.
Or
Yeah.
trance state, yes.
Yeah.
That will help. It's just totally different. It'll help you enter different dimensions in that sense, and connect to different.
Yeah, and there's another thing. I mean, what I've witnessed quite some constellation work. But another thing is that often the guidance, the people who are guiding it, they give suggestion to the people that are standing there to say things, to speak out sentences.
True.
See? But sometimes I hear them saying sentences and I think, well, this is just the idea of the guider who is, this is his way of looking at the situation.
Yeah,
and it's really limited.
And that's also a bit dangerous.
And it's dangerous too, because somehow these sayings, especially in this energetical field, they can also fixate the problem.
Exactly.
So for instance, this example I just gave to you about his grandfather, I mean, if he is standing there and it becomes clear that he feels ashamed because his head is going down,
yeah,
and he's going to turn his back to everyone, and he gets the suggestion to say, well, I'm still here, or I still love you, or can you see me, or anything, without realizing where he feels the shame for the fact that he killed a woman. And that is the reason that he is not able to connect with his daughter. Will stay there.
Yes, it's not solved in that sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it depends again on the people who are guiding it, of course.
It
But
really
I've many times I've seen it and I thought, oh, okay.
Are we going the right direction here?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a matter of the consciousness of the guiders as well.
So. Yes.
And therefore, if you have this consciousness, if you start to see how the dots are connected, I would prefer to go deeper to the moment that Grandpa feels the pain about it.
Yes.
And there's no need to have sayings afterwards anymore.
No, we
it just happens.
And you in that state you sink into the physical level already without having to. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for I'm also aware of the time just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that we got to elaborate all these layers here. Thank you.
I'm happy to explain.
I can see the passion here. I love it. And I connect with it. I was just moving a bit into maybe ending today's session.
Yeah.
Like
we could talk about it for days.
Yeah. I could stay here for hours, but just telling that to people. Great vibes here. We've gone into like how does this work? What can people expect? We've gone into, so just repeating today's topic, how to reconnect with your ancestors and relieve trauma with regression and reincarnation therapy. What the differences are between several approaches. We've tapped into how disease, either mental or physical, often physical, can be trapped or stored into our bodies, and how to go there.
Right.
We've touched on many layers and topics.
Right. Yeah.
I think we did great.
Yeah, exactly. Especially you, because you're really into it, and it makes it easier for me to adjust to the what I want to say.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I'd love to kind of move into what we sometimes do with these live classes is maybe give some space, if people were to give some space to you, the one being interviewed in this sense, like our guest. We sometimes ask, like, do you have an exercise or something that you can share with us that people can do at home, or that we can do right now, or maybe something that could help the people listening?
Yeah, some time ago I did a lecture in a big hall. Many people were there, and all of a sudden there was an example that came to my mind about the curiosity of children. I said just out of the blue, Imagine that I would say to a bunch of children, we verstoppen, we hide it, a strawberry in this hole.
Okay, cool, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with the children? I said it to the grown-ups, there were a couple of hundreds there. And I started to laugh because everyone felt, well, they're going to look for it. That is this intrinsic, powerful feeling children have of being curious.
Yeah.
The will to find something that lies beyond their, what is it?
Imagination.
Yeah, imagination, but I want to say beyond their visies.
Yeah, their
beyond what they can see.
reference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what I wanted to explain is that this is a really powerful medicine you're having, and we should keep this alive when we grow up. But the circumstances we're getting in this crazy, indoctrinated, limited society,
yeah,
is that curiosity is this, I call it the strawberry feeling. The strawberry feeling is going down under. We're getting lazy and we're getting distracted and we get it, all these kind of things.
Very good. Yeah.
And therefore, many people, they start to accept, yeah, my grandma was as she was. And nothing happened anymore. So that means that you're not empowering your grandmother anymore, whoever she was. So I would suggest find some people, like-minded people, your brother, your sister, your partner, whoever you find yourself good with. Have a plate with strawberries on the table and start to shine a light, a new light on the ancestral family history. Especially use your strawberry energy to find out why grandpa did not talk, to find out why grandma was so harsh or untouchable or all these kind of things. So use the strawberry feeling to find out why they did as they did. They will be very thankful for you because in spirit they are really attached, and they only can let go to the other dimensions when they are acknowledged by their descendants. So that is a tip that I wanted to give to the people.
That's so beautiful.
It's simple, it's nice to do, it's fun also, and there's tears.
Yes.
And when you're going into it, you're already shaking up the energy field of this solid, the solid energy that is often there to find in the family systems.
Yes. And
stirring it up.
Yeah, stirring the density of the energies.
The density, that's a nice word. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, this is a beautiful exercise, I think. Yeah. And I so love this metaphor of strawberry.
Strawberry medicine.
Strawberry medicine. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for that.
By the way, the strawberry medicine, the people I'm really connected with, the Iroquois in Canada, the strawberry is a sacred fruit. They use it in many ceremonies because it represents the sweetness of life. And they say this is a really special piece of fruit because the seeds are on the outside, not on the inside. So that's a good reminder.
What does it mean to them that the seeds are on the outside?
That you're often going to look for the essence in a different way, in the wrong way.
I love this. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it shows just the fertility of life on the outside, on a really nice, beautiful, good tasting, sweet piece of fruit.
Yes, that the seeds of life are supposed to be visible.
Often in a different, often in a different direction than you think they should.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, I stop talking.
Oh yeah, I love the talking. There's so much that we didn't yet get into, so I'm grateful.
For another time, maybe.
For another time. So so this last piece is that we call it the 3 gifts. The gifts of like a motto, a saying, or an intention, and you can choose either one. What is it that you live by? Do you have like a saying or an intention that motivates you or has motivated you throughout life?
Yeah, I would say don't believe authorities outside yourself and try to trust on the voice inside yourself. By the way, your heart looks like a strawberry too, huh?
Yes.
So let the answers come from that part, and don't let yourself be distracted, because we're in really challenging times. And it's better to find the voices of your ancestors back instead of listening to the bullshit stories of people with ties and so on.
Wow. Yes. And those voices of ancestors are to be found inside.
They're only a thought away.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today.
You're welcome. It was nice.
It was a beautiful connection and beautiful talk. Thank you so much. Yes, very much so. Yes, with that we'll end this. Well, never really ended, but close today's podcast show, and make sure that we can bring this to you as soon as we can. I would love to ask where people can find you if they want to connect or know more about your lectures or your
there's the
training
website
center that you have.
There's a website is www.maartenoversier.com.
Yes, we'll put that.
And if you're interested in these stories, then you can also buy my book there. It's in English and in German and in Dutch.
Nice. We'll put these show notes and the links to your book.
Nice. You find many more these kind of stories there.
Great. Is there any social media maybe that people can connect with you?
There is I'm on Instagram and Facebook, where I don't deal with those things, but that's
your team does
for me.
Yes. But people can find you there, so we'll make sure that we'll also put the links to that there, right?
Nice.
Thank you so much for today. Thank you everybody here for listening, for sticking around until this point. Grateful that you share your precious time with us, and we do not take that lightly. We very much treasure it and cherish that. So thank you. And see you on the next one.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.